Join us for a new holiday classic where a young man in search of his long-lost father gets trapped in a liquor store hostage situation and ends up killing a cop. Don't worry though, everyone gets a happy ending in this movie whether they've earned it or not. We watched El Camino Christmas starring Tim Allen today on Noel Thing Movies.
So going off of our last conversation on our last episode, I've been working on our Christmas album, Jameson.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and we really need to get the lead out because we need to get into the recording booth before, December 25th. So
we don't have access to a recording studio anymore.
I found a new one. It's a little sketchy, but don't worry about it. He's also going to charge us twice as much as the last one, but don't worry about it. So I've just been working on some broad strokes here, a rough skeleton of things. So I'm just going to run through kind of like a medley, much like Billy Crystal at the Oscars. I'm just going to give you a little Christmas medley here. Throw
all right, that's a timely reference that I'll get.
Throw some notes at me. You got it. I know he's
I don't necessarily watch the Oscars. I know he's hosted a bunch.
You don't know he does like his little medley of like Best Picture nominees, and he does the parody songs. Well, he does that, and now I'm going to do that.
Lovely.
So, here we go. All right. Robosaurus breathing burning fire. A grieving father's feeling blue. A magical black guy can bring toys
is this all
to
just about
life.
Okay, so this is all just about Robosaurus. Okay.
And Arlie Ermy is here too.
Okay, what's another one? What's the next one?
Just hear those diamonds jingling, ring bling tingling do. We're in a dusty desert on a laser mission with you. That's an old one.
That's an oldie but a goodie.
Okay, Ginger Clown. Ginger Clown. I'm a tea kettle asshole. Hitchcock, the wish man, was as homeless as can be, but he saved the day, got a girl away from being forced to have a baby.
Hey,
kind of cheat the meter of that one a little bit.
That's all right. I mean, I got it. Yeah. I got it pretty good.
Accidental love. Love.
Wow.
Accidental love. Jessica Biel got nailed in her skull.
Oh, it's a nice little wistful look down memory lane here.
All right, big.
I remember liking some of these movies.
Yeah. All right, big finish.
Big finish. Okay.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my co-host gave to me 3,000 Draculas, 3,000 Pinocchios, 2019 Falls in New Yorks, 1990 Bronx Warriors, 11 Harrow Houses, 5 big gold bricks. For the Marines, 312 rounds to the condemned, and a 1, 2, 3 scream.
Hey, well done, Kaz.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't even track that you're doing that in descending numerical order.
Yeah, that's how it's got to be done. Otherwise, what do you think I am, a hack?
Yeah.
What do you think I am, some parody songwriting hack? This is an art.
Yeah.
All right?
Well, eat your heart out, Weird Al and Billy Crystal, apparently.
So yeah,
Birds of a feather, those two.
So you let me know which songs you want to sing, because obviously we'll cut this down the middle. I'll do half, you do half.
Sure, yeah, I'll get right on that.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. And you can just fax me your timetable, and then we'll be able to.
I don't have a fax.
Okay.
Actually, yes, I will fax you.
LinkedIn,
I will fax you.
iMessage. Mm-hmm. One of those is
carrier pigeon.
Welcome back, however you wish to self-identify, to Noel Thing Movies.
Hey, you got it this time.
I got it this time. Where we ask the question... Oh, that's not great. You know what? I'm going to give you a couple of... I'm just going to do a whole bunch of them, and I'll pick the best one. There you go.
All right, well,
you listening at home, you only heard one of them, but I gave Jameson some options.
And for all you aspiring audio engineers, I'm going to include all of these so we can make a Kaz Lesgard soundboard, and then you can modify, I don't know, Super Mario 64 with all those grunts.
Well, then we need a few more just for averages.
Yeah.
I'll get it by the end of the episode. It's the
Care to explain that?
It's the podcast where we go through an actor's filmography and we choose the most anonymous and culturally untalked about movies that they've made and decide whether or not they've got a certain something or if they're just a whole lot of nothing. I'm Kaz Lesgard.
I'm Jameson Rafter.
And up here,
Yeah, reporting in live.
Live on scene.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're covering the career of Mr. Tim Allen. And now you know why I've been stumping so hard to do the career of Tim Allen, because I wanted specifically to tell that joke.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the only reason. We can stop now.
Oh, really?
We can stop now.
No, I seem to recall you've had the itch to cover Tim Allen for a while.
I think Tim Allen has a perfect career for this podcast because it's not terribly long. He's made some movies that really exist, and the movies that aren't that basically don't exist at all. So I think he's
well put.
I think he's perfect for our podcast, and the film that we're talking about today, given that it is the holiday season, is 2017's El Camino Christmas. And if there's one thing Tim Allen is known for, it's being Mr. Christmas. This is the
oddly so, yeah,
fifth Christmas movie that he has made. He has played Santa Claus 4 times. Because he's got that fucking Disney Plus show now.
Oh, okay.
Already on its second season. Good
Lord.
Lord.
They're making more of that?
Oh, yeah. Someone's watched. The algorithm told them to make more. And,
no.
And Tim Allen went, oh, no. But yeah, I've been fascinated about the career of Tim Allen. I think it's a good fit for this show. Don't really like Tim Allen, the human being, but you know what? That's okay. We can separate the art from the artist. Tim Allen, he's pretty regularly known in Hollywood as being a bit of an asshole. He
had his run-ins with the law.
He wears many hats. He's a sitcom actor, a comedian, a prison snitch.
Yep.
On paper, a very different career from that of our last subject, Robin Williams, but they have a few things in common. They were both leads of sitcoms. They were both stand-up comedians. They both loved cocaine. They loved it but only one of them got in trouble for it.
Yeah. And pretty much just had the 90s film scene in the palm of their hands. Yeah, I mean, Tim Allen's an interesting person to look back on, especially in that time of the 90s, where it seemed like, despite his troubles, he could do no wrong. Projects were just lining up left, right, and center for him.
And also, despite his troubles, he was Mr. Family Friendly. He was Mr. ABC Friday night. I forget if Home Improvement was part of TGIF. It must have been.
I don't think. No, that was.
No, I think it ran its own evening. I'm not entirely certain.
And wasn't TGIF like a NBC thing? No, I'm thinking of Must See. Whatever.
But you know what?
That was an age ago. But didn't you once remark that at one point he had the #1 TV show, #1 movie, and the best-selling book?
Don't Stand Too Close to a Naked Man.
Yeah.
Which Tim, I just want to tell you, I have not.
That's the name of the book. That's just not.
That's the name of the book. But I just want to say I have not followed that advice over the years, and I just have to say it's worked out great for me. But to each their own. Yes.
Sure.
So let's go into it. Timothy Allen Dick. That is his
very appropriate.
That is his legal name. So we
is that Dick with a Y or
no? It is not. He was born in Denver, Colorado, in 1953. He has 5 siblings and 3 step-siblings. His dad died in a car crash when he was 11, and his mom remarried to her high school sweetheart. He started his stand-up career in 1975 on a dare from one of his friends at Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle in Detroit. While in Detroit, he started appearing in commercials and cable comedy shows. In 1978, Allen was arrested at Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport for possession of over 650 grams of cocaine. He pled guilty and provided the names of his fellow dealers to avoid a life sentence. Tim, bad form. You don't snitch, buddy. But then sometimes...
But it kind of turned out well for him.
Sometimes you do snitch, and then you become the most successful television actor of the 90s.
Right, so it all worked out well for him, and I'm sure he's sleeping quite comfortably at night.
Oh, I'm sure he's perfectly fine. Yes, he's sleeping. He's sleeping on his Toy Story residuals. This is part of the reason why Tim Allen doesn't make that many movies. He doesn't have to. He's like the royalty train will always keep chugging along for Tim Allen here.
As I assume, so will reruns of Home Improvement on like country music television or whatever the fuck is getting rerun on now these days.
And we haven't even gotten into his other TV show, but we will get to that at some point here. He only served 2 years and 4 months of his sentence. After prison, he became a regular at the Comedy Store in L.A., which was a comic club that is famously run for many years by Mitzi Shore, the mother of Pauly Shore.
Yep.
Allen's stand-up success led to...
I've actually been to the Comedy Store when I went to L.A.
How is it?
It's nice. You have to put your phones in a bag, but
I like that.
and it's always just a random assortment of comedians. You never know who you're going to get. It's nice.
If you put your phone in a bag, how are you going to film when the comedian goes off on a racist tirade or just
I think that's
just a general nervous breakdown?
I have a feeling that's a new policy that they put in.
All right. Yeah. How does one break the internet then? I don't know. Isn't that what modern stand-up comedy is? Just like bad cell phone footage of people yelling at their favorite comedian and throwing water bottles at their heads.
I suppose. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Comedy has changed, man.
It certainly has.
You know who would make the claim that comedy has changed? Tim Allen.
Yeah, for the worse, I'm sure, too.
Things are different. There's all these women comedians out here, and as we all know, women are different from men.
Yeah.
Jameson in these ways.
Yeah. And that was his entire act.
That was basically his entire act. He became quite famous. He started getting TV specials like Tim Allen, Men Are Pigs, and Tim Allen Rewires America. That last one sort of started getting the idea into heads that this Tim Allen man, he sort of likes to fiddle with things. He's sort of a bit of a home improver. One might say.
Yeah.
He likes to work with his hands. He's a real man's man.
Fancies himself somewhat of a handyman. Yeah.
Makes tough going noises like and the like.
Well, because at the end of the day, all men are just primitive cavemen. Yeah.
That's what that show proved.
Yep.
And time has gone on and has proven it right. Except time went on, less and less of those men were around, and then eventually Tim Allen was the last man standing.
Sure.
But I repeat myself. I got ahead of myself. His film debut was a small role as a baggage handler in the 1988 David Carradine film Tropical Snow.
Oh.
That is a bit of a blip on his career because in 1991 ABC launched Allen into superstardom with Home Improvement, one of the most watched sitcoms of the 90s, running for 8 seasons, 204 episodes, and for its final season, Allen was paid $1.25 million an episode.
Yeah, so he's doing just fine.
He'll be fine. He's, as I said before, he's the king of reruns.
I don't know why he complains about the current state of America. America seems to have been quite good to him over the years.
It all worked out. I really don't know.
Yeah,
but,
You ever watch Home Improvement?
Oh yeah, of course, all the time growing up. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was on regular rotation. Yeah,
For sure, yeah.
Absolutely. I believe, like most people, I was captivated of the mystery of what does his neighbor's lower third of his face look like.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever found out.
I don't think so.
No.
That show, I mean, it's a family sitcom, just all about the trials and tribulations of being a dad in modern America. I think it had a really good hook with the amount of slapstick and how Tim Taylor was just this accident-prone buffoon. No other sitcom really did that, and I think that's what made it stand out from the pack, at least to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to call you. I think I could probably think of a couple of sitcoms where the father figure is somewhat of a bumbling fool.
Yeah, but I mean...
Dick Van Dyke tripping over the ottoman kind of springs to mind.
Sure, but I'm talking about big set pieces, too, where he's, falling through the roofs of houses and, I don't know, has elevation boots on.
It did seem like every...
Rides a washing machine as it goes haywire or something.
You're right. It did feel like every episode had at least one big set piece that clearly required, an entire day of filming just to make sure that pulled off. Because you're right. He'd be using a belt sander, and then all of a sudden he gets his shirt caught in it, and then he gets thrown across the room.
Sure, yeah.
Or, I don't know, he does something to Al, and then Al gets in on the business or what have you. But
as I got older, older, it just dawned on me, like, this man should be dead like 1,000 times over.
Yeah.
And his wife must have an insane life insurance policy on him.
And then every day he comes home and she's all like, darn it. Man. Yeah, but, an absolute institution of 90s television. Whether even if you didn't watch the show, you must have caught a spare couple of minutes of it. Just flipping TV. It was always on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that got his career going from 1991 to 1999. He basically ran the entire 90s doing that show, but he didn't rest on his laurels. Because in 1994, as previously mentioned, not only was this the year that he published his best-selling book, Don't Stand Too Close to a Naked Man, but it was also his debut as a leading man in film with Walt Disney Pictures' The Santa Claus. A very weird movie that has strangely become a Christmas classic over the years. It's one of those movies that people watch and they kind of disassociate all the weird body horror that goes into it.
Yeah, like like the dead Santa corpse deflating. Like weird connotations that the movie kind of leaves you with that it doesn't quite address.
Like every commercial for that movie growing up had the scene where he's like shaved his face and then it like terrible 90s morphs into like the Santa beard, and they're all they put all their money on that, and it looked bad then, and it doesn't look any better today. But it was a massive hit. And still a Christmas classic to this day.
I mean, like one nice little touch from that movie that I have now just incorporated into Santa Claus lore. Not so much that you will become Santa if he dies on your property, but I always wonder, like, what does Santa do to get into houses when they don't have a fireplace or a chimney? Well, he'll go through any available smokestack, and a fireplace will just manifest itself magically. And it's like, okay, that makes sense now.
Through bad 90s CGI. He'll turn into the puddle from Alex Mack, and he'll go down a drain pipe, and that's how he gets in. In 1994, he makes The Santa Claus. 1995 would bring his third lasting legacy of pop culture, one that he's still doing successfully to this day. He provided the voice of Buzz Lightyear in the landmark 1995 animated Pixar film Toy Story. Heard of it?
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
I would argue, like, outside of maybe Home Improvement, probably his most important and lasting role. At least to me.
I could even argue it succeeds Home Improvement, just in terms of like the merchandise sales that happen with every year. Like, people adore those movies. My sister named her cats Buzz and Woody. Like, she loves that crap. I mean, I love that crap too. It's all the Toy Stories are great. Like even when they were on the cusp of Toy Story 4 coming out, I'm all like, there's no way that they're gonna create the magic again, because the third one had such a great ending. And then lo and behold, Toy Story 4 is kind of a masterpiece.
Oh, really?
Because they keep doing that.
I haven't seen it.
It's
actually.
good. Yeah. It's good, you know.
Do they have another scene where Buzz Lightyear somehow gets reset to like the factory default version?
Here's the thing: let's talk about Toy Story now, because I won't go through. I'll mention it when they come up in his career. 1999, Toy Story 2. 2010,
he plays
Toy
Buzz
Story 3.
Lightyear in the Toy Story
2019,
series.
Toy Story 4. As the movies go on, they really kind of run out of stuff for Buzz to do. So while Toy Story 4 is pretty good, it's entirely Woody's movie.
Okay.
Buzz is around. Buzz's subplot in the fourth movie is that, like, I don't know, he's like searching for meaning or whatever, and then Woody has like this offhand comment like, just listen to the voice inside your head. And so he starts pushing all the buttons on his thing that like say like the sayings, and then he just literally does whatever that does. And that's his entire arc for the fourth movie. Like, they really have run out of stuff for Tim Allen to do, but Tim Allen will take that paycheck, thank you very
absolutely
much.
Why not?
Except when he can't take that paycheck when they replaced him with Chris Evans for one movie. But but I think Tim Allen maybe had the last laugh on that one, because no one liked that movie, including yours truly.
Okay, I also haven't seen that one.
You're not missing anything, but definitely watch Toy Story 4.
Okay.
1997. This is where the really lame comedies start pouring in, which will kind of become his bread and butter, unfortunately, when he's not suckling from the teat of Big Disney. Although some of these are produced by Disney.
Yeah.
He has two fantastic stinkers in 1997. The first is Jungle to Jungle.
Oh, fuck, I saw that one in theaters.
Oh, boy, yeah. This is also from the director of The Santa Claus, a guy named John Pasquin, who is really Tim Allen's partner in crime. Not only did he direct this movie and the first Santa Claus, but he's also directed the majority of Home Improvement and the majority of Last Man Standing.
Okay. When you said partner in crime, I thought you were going to say, and he also
That is true.
I
forgot for a moment that Tim Allen is an actual criminal. Yes, he went to jail for
his
drugs.
accomplice. Gotcha.
Yes. To the best of my ability, John Pasquin has never been charged for a crime other than a cinematic crime. Jungle to Jungle. It's this classic trend of bullshit they were doing in the 90s where they took a terrible French movie and they adapted that into English. So this was originally a French film called Little Indian Big City, where Tim Allen finds out that he has a son with like I think like a wildlife photographer who is checking out like some sort of like village in Africa or whatever, and she's brought her son along, and her son has completely gone native, I suppose, and he's adapted to the culture, and now Tim Allen, you gotta bring him back to the big city, and this little kid's walking around in a loincloth, and he's shooting things with bow and arrows, and it's wholly inappropriate for everyone involved.
Yeah, and this kid's just like a younger version of Crocodile Dundee, right? Like using bushwhacking skills to make it through the big city, and
Now's my moment to have egg on my face, because I've never seen Crocodile Dundee. So
neither have I. I'm just using that as like a reference.
Yeah,
cultural osmosis.
A jungle person comes to the city. That's what we're dealing with here. Also in 1997, he does For Richer and Poorer.
Is that the one where he becomes Amish?
Yes, him and Kirstie Alley are on the run from some criminals, and they basically recreate the plot of Witness. They go into hiding in the Amish community, and hilarity ensues.
No, it didn't.
One assumes.
We rented that one and turned it off within the first 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, Tim, these were all rentals growing up. 1999 was a bit of a comeback year for him. Not only is there Toy Story 2, but there's also Galaxy Quest. I think we can all admit his best performance. And his best movie?
Yeah.
I mean, if you leave the Toy Stories out, if you just make the Toy Stories their own thing, Galaxy Quest is the most successful, good movie I think he's ever done. That he's also very good at.
Yeah, a well thought out movie. We kind of went into depth when we covered Sigourney Weaver's episode. So, not really a whole lot to say other than, he was a good character. I always appreciated that, he's meant to be, it's meant to be like a spoof of the stars of the original Star Trek later on. I always appreciated that he liked the role. Not Tim Allen. I mean, like, his character liked the role.
Oh, yeah.
He was never a cynical burnout like everyone else in the cast. He was a fan, and he overheard some punks dissing it that he started to feel a little self-conscious.
Those sci-fi con punks who go to the con that's specifically for the one show, and then they badmouth the show while they're at their con. Those people who are always there.
Check out all these nerds, and it's like, well, the convention has already got your money, so joke's on you.
Why are you here? We came here to ironically make fun of this.
Yeah, why do they come to our concert just to boo us? Or to runner up.
There's always those people. 2001, he's in two movies that are deeply, deeply nothing movies. He's back with the director of The Santa Claus for a third time for the forgotten film Joe Somebody, where he plays a guy who works in an office, and there's a bully played by Patrick Warburton, and he makes him look like a fool in front of everyone at the office. So he goes and he learns martial arts from Jim Belushi. And then he's a somebody. And then he's going to fight Patrick Warburton in the parking lot. That's all I got for you on that one. I watched the trailer for this and I'm like, surely there must be more plot to this. There appears not to be. This appears to be a movie where Tim Allen fights Patrick Warburton.
Huh. Did they... No, it's the same fucking plot of that Charlie Day and...
The fist fight?
Fist fight, yeah.
Yeah, except they're not teachers.
Yeah.
Also, a weird element to add to this, I was looking down the cast list of this movie. Patrick Warburton's character is named Mark McKinney. And this was years after Kids in the Hall had already been established.
Oh, yeah.
So that's strange. No one checked on that.
Screenwriter never put eyes on Kids in the Hall, I guess.
Probably not. That's clearly because if he had, he would have learned what a joke was. And then also in 2001, he is in a film called Who is Cletus Toot? The answer we all ask. This appears to be an indie...
What is Cletus Toot, likely?
Where is Cletus Toot in the bargain bin? He plays a hitman named Critical Jim, and this is an ensemble dramatic comedy, one imagines, with Richard Dreyfuss, Christian Slater, Portia de Rossi, and RuPaul.
Oh, okay.
So that is on my maybe list for a future episode, because
Okay.
that sounds wild. 2002, he's in the film Big Trouble, a film that itself got in big trouble because it was delayed after the September 11th attacks, because there is a scene where two people hijack a plane. If you remember, there was like a bunch of films that got delayed like an entire year after 9/11 because they involved something to do with terrorism, and this was one of them. But this is a lame ensemble comedy. It's not... I don't think it's based on an Elmer Leonard book, but it feels like it's based on an Elmer Leonard book.
Yeah, with a title like that, it sounds like it could have been adapted from an Elmer Leonard book.
It feels like it's trying to go for a Get Shorty, right down to the fact that his co-star is Rene Russo. I remember seeing it once, don't really remember anything about it other than the fact that it got delayed due to 9/11. Also in 2000...
Top of the IMDb trivia list.
That's number one. That's number 1 and number 9. Also in 2002, he's back with the Santa Claus 2, a movie that I watched as a bit of a palate cleanser after my screening of El Camino Christmas. And let me tell you, that is like having a shot of Tabasco after drinking a glass of absinthe in terms of palate cleansers, because... that movie's nuts. I haven't seen the third one yet, but the sequel to the Santa Claus is absolutely bug nuts insane. This time around, they find a second clause that says he has to get married before the end of Christmas. And so he goes back, he loses all the weight, he starts romancing his son's principal. Meanwhile, to keep the elves none the wiser, they create a robot Santa Claus, also played by Tim Allen. It's maybe the most insane thing I've ever seen Tim Allen do, because he's just like full wide-eyed terror like the entire time. It's really quite disturbing, his performance as Robot Santa.
Well, perfect for a Christmas movie then.
Absolutely, and unfortunately, as time goes on, the Tim Allen-ness infects the Robot Santa, and he ends up becoming a fascist. Who only wants to give coal to all the boys and girls because all the children are bad.
Okay, so AI gone amok.
And Santa's gotta come back and he gotta fix it because he's the Santa Claus.
Is Martin Short in that one?
That is the Santa Claus 3, the Escape Clause from 2006. Which I have not seen. Looks equally as terrible, but yes... Martin Sheen plays
Short.
Jack Frost. Yes, Short. God, Martin Sheen. That would be a completely different movie. Ooh, now I'm thinking about that. 2004. He's not off the Christmas train yet because unfortunately it is time for Christmas with the Cranks. Adapted from a John Grisham novel, which is something that will never stop blowing my mind. But yeah.
He did things other than like legal thrillers?
I think he did this one thing.
Jesus. All right.
And then he was all like, never again. But yeah, Tim Allen, Jamie Lee Curtis, they don't want to celebrate Christmas. Everyone in their neighborhood is all like, fuck you! And it's going to get a little cranky. What are you going to do? Not see it. 2006.
So what does this make, like 5 Christmas movies for Tim Allen?
This would be number 3 at this point. He has one Santa Claus to go and El Camino Christmas.
Okay.
So is not done beating that dead horse. 2006, another terrible year for him. On top of the Santa Claus 3, he's also in the remake of another Disney film, The Shaggy Dog, where he is a lawyer and he's got to win the big case, but oh no, he magically transformed into a shaggy dog.
Yeah.
And what's he gonna do? He has to solve the big case. I like to remember this movie because it is a few years before Robert Downey Jr. got Iron Man, and he is stuck playing the villain, the villainous defense attorney or whatever in this, and he's just humiliating himself. He's falling down. He gets a pie in the face or some nut. I'm sure the dog pees on him at some point, and I'm just like, Robert, hang in there, man. You're gonna be the biggest star in the world very soon.
I mean, what, the original Shaggy Dog, the only memory I have of that is it has new life now online as just like the clip that everyone shows of the dog running up to a guy who's blocking the door, and then it cuts to clearly a guy in a dog costume giving him a big bear paw swipe, and then he leaps out the window and swings down, and it's like, no dog can do this.
The Shaggy Dog can!
The Shaggy Dog can.
Because he's got magic, because he's got human magic.
Right.
Yeah, I have to watch that clip. I haven't seen that.
This is pretty good.
It's very funny.
It's pretty good.
Also in 2006, he's in Zoom, Academy of Superheroes, where he is washed-up superheroes training a bunch of kid superheroes to be that. It came right on the heels of the Disney film Sky High, which is basically the exact same plot, but much better.
I was going to say, isn't Kurt Russell in that one? But no, it's a different superhero school
Kurt Russell
movie.
is in the better version of this.
As he usually is.
As he often is, yes, in this case. 2007, another terrible comedy, but a movie that a lot of people forget was actually a huge fucking hit at the box office. Wild Hogs! Where him, John Travolta, Martin Lawrence, and of course the fourth friend, William H. Macy, all ride motorcycles. And that's the plot of that movie. They ride motorcycles. Maybe they're not great at it, but you know what? They're wild hogs all the same.
I feel like you often reference that movie when you talk about movies that just have no cultural footprint.
I mean, it's come up once before because we covered Martin Lawrence. I don't know how often I've brought it up before.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of something else where it was like Wild Dads or something like that. It's like a generic title you kind of just throw out every once in a while.
It's remarkably average, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, 2008. This is like the one weird outlier on his career, because up until now, he's mostly just done like these goofy family comedies. 2008, he appears in the David Mamet drama Red Belt, which is a movie where Chiwetel Ejiofor plays a martial artist who has like this very like a principled set of ethics that relates to his martial arts. And one day while he's on a film set, he runs into a washed-up action hero played by Tim Allen, who sees him disarm a rowdy guy on the set, and he's all like, hey, you can actually do martial arts. Do you want to, like, hang out with me and, like, teach me some stuff or whatever? And then it gets into, like, backroom dealing and stuff. It's a very David Mamet-y type story with, like, you know, people saying one thing and then doing another thing. You can never trust anybody. But it's weird to see Tim Allen in a David Mamet drama. He's perfectly fine. He's kind of just playing an extension of himself.
Just wanted to try something a little different.
He just wanted to try something a little bit different. Wanted to stretch his acting muscles maybe just a tad. 2009, none of that shit. Let's forget that. That was a terrible idea. He's back in a movie that no one has ever seen. It's something called The Six Wives of Henry LaFay. Didn't want to look up anything more to do with that, but he's in that movie, and that movie exists.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do an episode on that. 2010, he directs his first and only movie, Crazy on the Outside, which reunites him with Sigourney Weaver. It also has Ray Liotta and J.K. Simmons in it. Looks like another family dramedy of some sort. He's playing a man who just got out of prison, so maybe he's drawing on some past experience. Maybe he's telling the story that he always wanted to tell.
Unofficial biography movie, yeah, okay.
And then 2011, as previously mentioned, is the beginning of his other sitcom, Last Man Standing, which aired for 9 seasons.
Oh, really?
194 episodes, and managed to survive cancellation on ABC and made the jump over to the Fox network.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So, it's the show that wouldn't die.
Was that on as long as Home Improvement was?
It was on more seasons, but it has less episodes.
Okay, interesting.
So it just barely made the Home Improvement run. Like, it stopped just short of doing it.
Huh. And I was aware of that show, and I heard that there was just some real bad buzz about it.
And that is despite, that's despite the fact that you and I have never seen this before in our lives. I feel like cable sitcoms work differently now. If you don't have cable and you're not actively watching these shows when they come out, they kind of don't exist unless you binge them later on Netflix.
I mean, I cut the cable cord, I want to say, back in 2010. So I just haven't put eyes on anything from the last,
that was a year before this came out, so you wouldn't have seen Last Man Standing. He's like a dad. It has nothing to do with the apocalypse. He's like a dad, and he raises girls.
Okay.
I think he has a blog.
Okay.
I think that's the framing of the show, the episodes. He has a blog, and at the end of the episode, he's like, well, this is what I learned, and women are different from men, but at the end of the day, I'm the last man standing.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And that's 194 episodes for that. Good for him. I'm glad he's successful.
I'm sure he's got some thoughts on veganism and...
oh, boy.
And selfies.
Yep. It aired a little too late for, topics like the woke mind virus and things like that, but I'm sure if it came back, he'd probably have some things to say about that. And then in 2017, he's in the Netflix film El Camino Christmas.
Ugh.
And here's an interesting footnote. To date, this is his last live-action film role. He hasn't appeared in anything since that isn't involving Buzz Lightyear or go straight to television.
Well, leaving on a high note.
Absolutely.
Oh, God.
And then, 2019 Toy Story 4. 2022, as I mentioned before, he's back in the big red suit for the Disney Plus sitcom The Santa Clauses, which, as I mentioned, is already on season 2, and they're threatening for a third.
Oh boy!
But he's got to, he doesn't have to pay the bills. He's insanely rich.
Sure, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he has like offshore accounts that he has to fucking funnel money into.
Maybe he's got his own Santa Claus, where he says, if you're gonna do like a revival of this series, I have to play Santa Claus. I have to reprise my role.
I'm sure he's so happy that he's still doing this all these years later.
Yeah.
And then coming up next year, premiering on January 8th, 2025, so around the time that this episode will come out, he is in yet another sitcom that we'll see how long this one lasts, but he has a good track record. This is a show called Shifting Gears. And the logline is: a widower takes in his estranged daughter and her children. It will co-star Kat Dennings and Sean William Scott. So best of luck. I mean, not best of luck. He doesn't need our well wishes.
No.
He's more than...
I'm sure he could give a shit about what we think about
him. You know
him.
what? I actually hope this one falls flat on its face. He's had 2 sitcoms that lasted longer than most sitcoms should last. I hope this is the one where the gas runs out of the tank for him. I hope it's a tremendous failure. I mean, I wish nothing but the best for Kat Dennings.
And Sean William Scott.
Sean William Scott, I could take or leave, but Kat Dennings is sweet. But but anyway, that's the Tim Allen filmography. Wasn't it nice and short?
Yeah. Good for him, I suppose, for the amount of success that he has. You know, I mean, like,
it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
All right, let's just get this out of the way. You and I are fairly progressive fellows, more so than, I don't know, the average right-leaning person.
Sure.
You know, whenever you hear stuff about, like, conservative actors aren't getting work in Hollywood because Hollywood's too left or whatever, Tim Allen is a perfect example of, like, I want to say a conservative actor who's found a string of successes. So, I don't know, whenever I hear things about, like, Kevin Sorbo can't land a gig, or, you know, Craig T. Nelson isn't famous anymore, it's like, well, you know what? Tim Allen's doing just fine. Kelsey Grammer's doing just fine. Maybe you're the problem.
He was Kevin Sorbo was in the Reagan movie that was just that. He was in a box office smash. When I was in the theater for the Reagan movie and he came on screen, someone in my audience audibly went, "Hercules." So he's out there.
I appreciate that.
He's making the money. Oh man, I didn't know Craig T. Nelson was a staunch Republican. It's always the Pixar dads, isn't it? Well, I guess Buzz Lightyear isn't a dad that we know of. Yeah,
that's Toy Story 5.
That's Toy Story 5, which is in fucking development.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Hey, you like Toy Story 4, so
I did like Toy Story 4.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Without giving anything away, Toy Story 4 has an ending that seems pretty fucking final.
So did Toy Story 3.
That's true, I suppose. Anyway, I mean, look, there's some good things I can say about Tim Allen. He came out against the January 6 riots.
Hey.
He said, hey, that's not good. I don't support this.
That's a pretty low bar.
That's a fairly low bar, but you know what? He cleared it. So that's good. And for a man his age, it's hard to clear bars these days.
Hey.
But speaking about
and
bars...
it's Tim the Toolman Taylor, so he would likely trip over it and hit his head on a counter or something.
Or he'd install it too high. Yeah, exactly. Well, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll take a little breaky break, and when we come back, we're going to have ourselves an El Camino Christmas. Aren't you glad I didn't write that song?
I'm surprised you didn't.
Have yourself.
All right, bye, everyone. We'll see you in a bit.
El Camino Christmas. Tim Allen drinks his beer.
Of course, you did write a fucking song.
No, this is all off the dome.
You dick.
Vincent D'Onofrio is also here. There we go. I'll workshop.
All right. Well, happy holidays, everyone. We'll see you in a bit. We're back. And a merry El Camino Christmas to you, Kaz.
Oh, a very a very Melly Mel and the Grandmaster Flash Christmas to you as well, which is
Good save.
what I wish I was watching, had watched instead of 2017's El Camino Christmas, directed by David E. Talbert. Now, I don't know how much we're going to end up having to say about this movie. I want to talk about this director because I actually think this is a really interesting movie when you consider this director's entire filmography. So David E. Talbert, he started off as a playwright. He comes from the world of theater. And not to cast dispersions at this man, but he has somewhat of... His vibe in the theater is that he's kind of a lower-rent Tyler Perry.
Okay.
He's a black filmmaker, and he primarily makes stories for black Christian audiences that have like they're like morality plays. They have a lot of like prayer and like gospel singing in it. He has made a ton of filmed productions of his original plays with titles like Mr. Right Now, Love on Layaway, The Fabric of a Man, and my personal favorite title, He Say.
He Say.
She Say.
Oh, okay. He Say, She Say?
But what does God say?
Oh, Christ.
I just love the way that rolls off the tongue. Then he transitioned into making studio comedies. He made the 2008 comedy First Sunday, where Ice Cube and Tracy Morgan rob a church safe. But they don't get money, Jameson. Instead, they find the Lord, one assumes. Cat Williams is also in this. And then he does 2013's Baggage Claim, where Paula Patton is an air stewardess, and you better believe she's going all over the world romancing lots of sexy men, including Derek Luke and Jaimin Hansu. But then, he has a trilogy of Christmas films.
Okay.
And I have now seen all three of these Christmas films.
Nothing better to do?
Because I was kind of intrigued at how they all seemed on paper to be completely different in sort of tone and messaging. So the first one is a 2016 film called Almost Christmas. It is a fairly standard family dramedy. It would fit right in at home on Hallmark or Lifetime or any of these networks. Yep. Danny Glover plays the patriarch. This is the first Christmas since his wife, the matriarch of the family, has died. All of his kids are coming home for Christmas, and it's just like, this is the first Christmas. We gotta get it all together. We gotta figure it out. This film stars Monique, Jesse T. Usher, Gabrielle Union, Omar Epps, Kimberly Elise, J.B. Smooth. It's your standard family Christmas drama. There's some laughs, there's some tears. It's perfectly acceptable.
Sure.
It's perfectly fine. It's a perfectly good time. Then in 2020, he did Jingle Jangle, A Christmas Journey, which is a full-on original musical starring Forrest Whitaker, Keegan-Michael Key, Hugh Bonneville, and Ricky Martin as the film's villain, a talking nutcracker.
Okay.
It's also kind of good.
Okay.
I'm kind of a sucker for an original musical. This one kind of charmed me. Forrest Whitaker gives the best line delivery of all time when he says, "Oh, somebody got hit with a snowball." I rewound that a couple of times because I just thought it was delightful the way he said that. So he has like these two family comedies. One's a little more grounded. The other one's big and flashy and has a robot and there's musical numbers in it. And then right in the middle of that is El Camino Christmas, which is this kind of cynical, unpleasant black comedy with lots of blood and swearing and no Christian values, and nary a black actor to be seen.
Yeah, so I was going to wait for you to finish so I could ask this one question. Are there any black people in El Camino Christmas? Because he primarily works with like a predominantly black cast, it sounds like.
He makes movies for black Christian audiences.
Yeah.
So, like, good on him for wanting, I guess, to, like, try something different. I mean, any filmmaker should be able to make any film they want. I'm certainly not trying to say that this man needs to stay in his lane.
Of course not.
It's just an odd film for him to do.
Yeah.
And
So did he just fell in love with the script?
One would have to assume. There's basically nothing written about this movie, so I have absolutely no idea why he decided he was the man to helm this, other than the fact that he had already made a Christmas movie. Maybe he had his Christmas musical in the pipeline. He's all like, you know what? I need a third one. I'm just going to throw the third one in here. It doesn't matter that it doesn't match any of my sensibilities or messaging as a filmmaker. There's no religious aspect to this at all. It's strange. It's just a strange movie for this guy to have made. And spoiler alert, I don't think he pulled it off very well.
One other thing we could say about this director is that he seems to be able to handle a very robust all-star cast.
Oh, yeah, he always works with big names.
Yeah, this movie kind of included.
Yeah, there's lots of big names in this. Yeah. There's like a fairly interesting cast that we got here, and they all play characters. And there's a bare semblance of a plot.
Yeah, and they all have like a nice fitting conclusion, even though I don't think we learn anything about the wants of any of these characters.
Well, I mean, they all have a conclusion, but it's around the point in time where we get to the conclusion that we realize I don't know who these people are.
Did they want that?
Didn't tell me anything about what this guy's deal was.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the conclusion we get to is good or not for them. They seem all right. I don't know. Some of them end up dead, but
so let me just tell you a brief little history that I have with this movie.
Oh, all right.
So a couple of years ago, the trailer for this movie dropped, and I was like, oh, a new holiday classic from an original Netflix movie. Let's take a look at this trailer. And I saw the trailer, and then I thought to myself, well, there's no way in fuck I'm ever going to watch this movie.
Little did you know you'd be hosting a podcast where someone forced you to watch it.
So thank you, Kaz. That's my history with El Camino Christmas.
Well, it all comes full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like back in like 2017, like we were still a little like engaged by the idea of the Netflix original movie. And now it means nothing.
Yeah.
Especially as it relates to Christmas, because Netflix has gone hard on the original Christmas movies.
Yeah.
They have like 3 of them out now.
I was at a Christmas party just this last weekend, and in the background they had fucking Hot Frosty on.
Frosty, the hottest movie of the year. Everyone wants to get their hands on there.
And one of those ones that have Lindsay Lohan in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know, just like having a morbid curiosity to check that out.
I will always be happy that Lindsay Lohan is doing Netflix Christmas movies, because it means she's working.
Yeah.
It means she got to go to set. She got to be surrounded by like nice people who like her, presumably.
Yep.
It's all good. It's a net positive for Lindsay.
She's got her life back on track, it seems.
I was disappointed when I learned that Hot Frosty is just like a guy. Like, if you're gonna do that premise, have the courage to make him a snowman the entire movie.
What, like a buff snowman?
Yeah, like a buff snowman. He's got like a cleft chin, but he's made out of snow. Come on.
Okay.
That's my take. That's why I'm not watching that movie. All right, can you tell we really don't want to talk about this?
Yeah,
all right.
Fucking hell.
El Camino Christmas. It opens with a scene near the end for some reason.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it to open with this scene.
Yeah, in hindsight, you want to have them, in hindsight, this really doesn't pay off anything. Like, there's nothing that's introduced at this early segment that when we wrap around to it near the end, that, now I understand the buildup and the context of this.
Right.
And when they actually reveal more information, like going back to it, the only bit of dialogue is Kurtwood Smith saying to Dax Sheppard, hey, you've been shot.
And
that's it.
And I don't even know if they included that in the original. It feels like when we get to that scene later on, there's dialogue that they've added now that wasn't in like the initial thing. And if anything, this opening scene actually gives something away, because so basically this opening scene, we have 2 small town cops, Sheriff Kurtwood Smith and Deputy Dax Sheppard. Deputy Dax.
Yep.
and they're in the middle of a shootout.
There's a hostage situation at a liquor store.
And it looks like both of them have been wounded. Dax has like a bloody arm. Kurtwood's got a little cut on his thing or whatever. And they're hiding behind a police car. And then it starts snowing. And then cuts to...
what did it?
39 hours earlier.
You can't round that number up.
And then, like, a bunch of stuff happens, but one of the first thing that happens is we see a news report and someone says, like, it'll be another sunny Christmas in El Camino, Texas, with no snowfall here. And it's all like, okay, well, now we know there's going to be snowfall. Was that the reason?
I suppose.
Did the director just want us to know, don't worry, there will be snow in this movie? And I'm like, thank fucking God.
Yeah.
Because I was fucking on the edge of my seat, wondering that if there's going to be snow in this fucking Texas at Christmas movie.
Yeah, this would have been like our third movie in the row where there was like, hey, an unseasonably hot Christmas
at the very end of it, yeah. Oh, that's a weird theme.
Yeah.
Almost like the planet's getting hotter.
So for the first 25 to 30 minutes of this movie, it's all introducing characters. And there's...
Hope you like that.
There's a lot of characters, some of them more prominent than others. But yeah, we gotta meet them all.
Ostensibly, the main character is Eric Norris.
Yeah.
Who's played by Luke Grimes. This is a classic case of... me being all like, when I was watching the movie, I'm all like, who's this fucking nobody? I've never heard of this. Then I hopped online, I'm all like, oh, he's one of the stars of Yellowstone, the most popular television show in the world right now.
Who's this jabroni?
Who's this fucking guy? Oh, he's literally on the most popular TV show in the world. All right, fair enough. But that was a year after this. Yeah. So at this point in time, he was a jabroni.
Sure, yeah.
He is just your very standard, good-looking, blonde-haired, blue-eyed leading man. Bit of a charisma vacuum, in my opinion. But he's our ostensible lead, and he comes driving into town in a night. What car is he driving?
Like a blue Ford or something like that.
Yeah, but it's like all the other characters are all like, that's a nice car. And he's all like, yeah, I guess. So and they're all like, that's suspicious that he doesn't know anything about that car. Will this come to anything? It does not.
So you would be forgiven for missing this because it's all done in like this quick cut opening montage where as the credits are rolling, Kurtwood Smith goes and investigates this barn fire that happened overnight.
Yes.
And there's a line that he mentions to the farmer that like, oh, it was like a meth head that burned. Like this was a meth lab.
I remember this.
Yeah. And so when he goes to the station and he's chewing out
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah. And he says like, hey, you're a bum loser of a cop. Like, why aren't you going hunting down some suspects for this meth lab fire? And so that's when he notices this drifter who's come to town in a fancy car.
Yes.
And his credit card has been declined at the motel, and he doesn't know anything about his make and model, so he's just drawn a lot of suspicion from this frankly terrible crooked cop.
He didn't do actual police work when he could have done police work. He was instead drinking on the job. And so now that he's been chewed out by his boss, he's gonna find some police work to do. He's gonna create an issue.
Yeah.
And
create an issue is fucking right.
Yeah. So Eric Norris, the hero of this movie, he drifts into El Camino. He goes to the local motel, which weirdly is also run by Deputy Dax Sheppard. I guess it's like such a small town that he has to work two jobs.
And I can see that. That's a trope from other movies. But what do you think his side hustle is? Running the motel or being a police deputy?
I don't know. He seems pretty all in on the motel there, because like later on, Kurtwood Smith is all like, "Well, you're doing some actual police work for a change here." And I think it's explained in a quick line of dialogue, but I believe Dax Sheppard is Kurtwood Smith's nephew.
Yeah,
or like second cousin or something. They're related somehow.
Yeah. Oh, Kurtwood Smith has like one of my favorite lines when they're holding up at the hostage situation. Like,
sure. What are we gonna do? We're gonna get a time machine, Billy. And I'm gonna go back in time to when my cousin was dating your mother. And then I'm gonna yank his pecker off right before he has a chance to create an idiot.
Stops just short of calling him a dumbass.
Yeah.
He didn't want to fall... Kurtwood Smith, I imagine, didn't want to fall into the Wendell Pierce problem, where it's all like... He's known for going, shit.
Yeah,
and then every movie he's in, he has to do that at least once. So I bet, like, the first time someone said Kurtwood, could you call him a dumbass? He's all like,
I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing that. You gotta pay me this amount of money to do that.
Yeah, dumbass. Meanwhile, he's like copyrighted dumbass.
Yeah, dumbass. That one's for free. Everyone gets one for free. Then you gotta pay me.
Yeah.
Kurtwood Smith, the second sitcom actor who's in this movie that we're covering.
How about that?
Much like Merry Freaking Christmas. So there we go. Everything is parallel. Yeah. So Vincent D'Onofrio is all like, this guy is in a fancy car. He doesn't know what make and model his car is. His credit card gets declined. He ends up paying with cash. All of these are completely understandable. Eric goes into his hotel room and his toilet starts overflowing. So he goes to the local convenience store and he gets some Drano. And that is the final nail in the coffin that makes D'Onofrio and Sheppard go, okay, he's cooking meth. That must be it, because that's what Drano is made out of.
A key ingredient in making meth,
sure.
I suppose.
He's just connecting the dots. But he's got A to B to Z.
Sure,
So, yeah, he's just all wildly all over the map. So, yeah, we got that.
Yeah.
We got drunken Vincent D'Onofrio.
Eric makes a stop off at some diner, and he sees a young single mother and her young boy, who we find in an earlier scene hasn't spoken to anyone. And the pediatrician says, I'm pretty sure your kid's on the spectrum. And the single mother's like, well, there's plenty of reasons why people won't speak, just completely dismissing the possibility that her kid might be autistic.
I get it. I get that you want to stand up for your kid. I get that you want to sort of like quash the rhetoric that like he's like unusual or this is strange or anyway. You might want to listen to the doctor. She might have some good resources for you. She might help you to understand that autism isn't like a burden or anything like that. You know, maybe actually listen to the health professional in this case. I don't know.
Did you catch the name of the mother?
Yes, Kate Daniels, who is played by Michelle Milet, who is on Letterkenny, another show that I've never seen.
I mean, I've seen Letterkenny, a bunch of episodes of it, and yet, like, throughout this entire opening scene, I was like, where do I know this actress from?
Right.
What is she fucking from? And yeah, she's from Letterkenny.
She's from Letterkenny, yeah. Her son's name is Seth. She lives with her mother, Jules.
Yeah, her man crazy
always
mother.
a single mom, always on the Tinder apps, always trying to find the next.
I need to land me a husband.
Yep, and she's always on a date, and she has like a bowling date with a dental hygienist?
Dennis, the dental hygienist?
It's always a dental hygienist. Do you notice that?
Yeah,
it's all whenever you're dating somebody on an app in a movie, they're either a dental hygienist or an accountant, or a weatherman, which is who she's on a date with at the end of this movie. So she got two out of the three.
Did you like how that was set up in the opening of the movie, where she has the hots for the local weatherman?
Yes.
And she's biting her lip or
He has
anything.
like an ironic name or something, like Dusty Day or something. I forget what it is.
Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, that's who it is, yeah. It's not plural. I'm different. I'm a different Stormy.
Yeah.
So that's going on, and she tries to leave her son, Seth, with her mom for the day, but her mom's all like, but I have a hot day tonight. So she says, fine, I'll take him to work. And she works at the local convenience store, liquor store, which is run by Vincente, who's this nice man who's nice to Seth and
barely gets any development. There's an offhanded remark that he has a framed photo of his dead wife next to the register.
And that makes you feel sad for when bad things happen to him later in the movie.
And that's the barest amount of backstory we learn about this guy.
All I want to say is this actor, Emilio Rivera, has roles in both Venom and Spider-Man 3. So he shared the screen with both cinematic Venoms. He's the only one to do so.
Well, nice tip of the hat
to that. Nice little, and you know what's in that hat? A little feather in his cap.
Yeah, he probably uses that line to pick up women.
And then
I would.
The most essential subplot of this entire goddamn movie. Ace reporter Jessica Alba.
Pregnant ace reporter Jessica Alba.
So important. Listener, you need to memorize right now. You need to get it in your brain that this reporter is pregnant with a baby. It will be so vitally important to this story.
Yeah.
It will inform the plot so fucking much you're not even going to believe it.
Yeah.
But yes, so she's a reporter, and she's, of course, bitching and complaining that all she has to do is human interest stories. And her cameraman's Jimmy Yang, who's an actor I always like to see pop up in things, and he's your classic sarcastic cameraman. And these are two characters who are also in the movie.
Prominent characters who have fuck all to do.
But it's gonna pay off so much, Jameson. You're not gonna fucking believe how much it pays off.
Character development wise, she's super ambitious. She wants to be like a primetime news reporter, and we cut to like one of her scenes where she's like at a children's Christmas pageant, and the local news is covering that for some reason. And not only that, there's like a police escort presence with the play. Like, what?
The play's a big deal. The school play is like the event of the season in El Camino, Texas.
I suppose, yeah.
Everyone's
it looks like Christmas is the number one thing on everyone's mind.
You gotta get there early because parking fills up fast. And like they didn't even have valet parking last year.
So I love Jessica Alba's body language in this, where she's just bored and pissed off at this scene, and
pissed off, and wearing a fake belly.
Yeah,
or maybe she was actually. You know what? If you would have told me that like Jessica Alba filmed this role when she was actually pregnant and they just wrote it into her character, I would believe that, because there's no other reason for this character to be pregnant. But if that information exists on the internet, I don't want to waste the time looking that up.
All right. Well, I was gonna say that I was right there with her with I'm bored and pissed off watching this Christmas pageant scene as well.
Yeah.
All right, so those are most of our cavalcade of characters. We get a nice little moment where Eric he buys a slice of cake for Seth and then doesn't say hello or doesn't introduce himself.
That's his move. That's his game.
That's his move. Yeah,
he does a nice thing and then leave immediately. Yeah. It works out great for him.
Leave him wanting more. Put some mystique into
I think he figured out that this is a town of like 80 people, so I think he probably figured he'd run into her again in a couple of minutes, which is what happens.
Yeah. So he's in town to meet his estranged father. He grew up without a dad. I guess like he might have ran out on his mom.
His mom. The father left the mom. His mom has recently passed away.
Right. And he
found like a letter.
Yeah, like a love letter that he may have written like 30 or so years ago, whatever. He tracks it down to this seedy, rundown motel. He knocks on the door and he's looking for, like, what's his name? Like Mike Lawrence or whatever. Mike Ross or
William Roth.
Or
something along those lines. He's looking for someone whose last name is Roth.
Yeah, so he knocks on the door and grizzled and grumpy Tim Allen answers it.
Oh, he's in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I completely forgot that's what we were talking about.
So Tim Allen opens the door, and rather than fucking assume that this guy is his dad, which would completely solve this entire fucking movie.
The movie would be over.
He doesn't ask him, "Are you William Roth?" He just asks, "Do you know a William Roth?" He would live here
because we gotta engineer a way to. We don't need to keep this train fucking going.
No.
Tim Allen is the guy's father.
Absolutely.
But for some reason, the movie wants to keep this as a twisty secret.
Yeah, keep it close to the vest.
Even though it's the most obvious fucking thing from the moment that he shows up, but no, we're gonna fucking skate around this and we're gonna waste time.
Absolutely.
Is what we're doing. In this movie that's not even an hour and a half long. Yeah. We have so much time that we need to waste.
I'm looking for my dad. Have you met him? Here's his name. He would live at this address. Who's the guy who lived here before you? Like, son of a bitch.
First and foremost, Tim Allen just tells him to go fuck himself. Now, we ran down his filmography. He's been in like some adult comedies before. He's a stand-up comedian. I'm sure Tim Allen has said the F word plenty of times. It's still kind of odd to hear him. Like the first lines out of his mouth is all like, "Get the fuck off my property, you son of a bitch!"
Especially in a Christmas movie.
Yeah, which is his bread and butter. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's dropping F-bombs in fucking Christmas with the Cranks. I don't know. I'll never know.
Yeah. Rather than Tim Allen say like, "Oh yeah, William Roth, that's me," he says like, "Oh yeah, I'll tell you what, take me out for a beer and I'll tell you everything you need to know about William Roth or whatever."
He calls himself Charles Bukowski. Was all like, "Oh, I guess we have to call this character that for a while." No, that's dropped almost immediately. He starts rolling the joint in Eric's car, and then later on leaves the bag of weed behind. That becomes a problem.
Yeah.
They go to a bar. There's kind of a funny moment where he says, "I'll have 2 Pabst," and then Eric says, "I'll take a Heineken." He says, "The Pabst are for me." Funny.
Pretty good.
I can't hear that. You're not a David Lynch fan, but I can't hear the association of Pabst Blue Ribbon and Heineken together without thinking of the film Blue Velvet, because there's a fantastic moment in that where insane off his rocker Dennis Hopper is going up to Kyle MacLachlan and is all like, "What kind of beer do you drink?" And Kyle MacLachlan goes, "I like Heineken." And he goes, "Heineken? Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!"
Cool.
Mm-hmm. There we go. People know what I'm talking about. People out there.
Well, after you explained it, yeah,
I'm
sure they do.
And you know what? It's all the more funny for me having explained it.
I like the part where Tim Allen just asks for some change so we can go to the jukebox, and he puts on Up on the House stuff.
Because he's in the Christmas spirit. Because he's Mr. Christmas.
Anyways,
he's contractually obligated to sing at least a couple of Christmas carols.
He gets two lines in, and then he just like staggers over drunkenly into some bar patrons, almost starts a bar fight.
Up on the rooftop, reindeer paws. Now comes good old Santa Claus, huh? Down through the...
Oh, watch where you're going, you drunk fucker.
Drunk fucker?
Which is, you don't see that often in a Tim Allen Christmas movie.
I would wager this is the only one where he... but again, haven't seen the Cranks.
That's right.
So, Eric gets tired of his bullshit almost immediately and leaves him to his own devices.
This is an absolute waste of my time.
Eric then goes back to the motel where Vincent D'Onofrio and Dax Sheppard are lying in wait, and they say, like, "We know you bought the Drano, we know your credit card got declined, that's enough to search your car. Oh, look, we found a bag of marijuana." So he gets punched out, and he gets taken to the jail cell where Vincent D'Onofrio does more police brutality.
Yeah.
And it's super funny. It's really great. I liked watching it.
Really?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it even surprised Dax Sheppard a little bit.
Dax Sheppard is we get the vibe that Dax Sheppard is the one cop that has more of a conscience than Vincent D'Onofrio, who's completely gone off the rails and is just like this scummy, constantly boozing alcoholic. Both him and Tim Allen spend this entire movie just swigging alcohol right from the bottle.
Sure, yeah.
At every conceivable point, which is how you know their character's on the edge.
Right. What do you think the vibe Dax Sheppard was going for with his character? Because you have to imagine that he's meant to be like a little behind the eight ball, kind of a dumb, country bumpkin who like learns to become a better police officer.
If I had to guess, if I had to like wager what Dax Sheppard was going for in this, I would say that he was aiming for something of a Dax Sheppard type.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a little out of his wheelhouse. So like it's interesting that he would try that. I like Dax Sheppard perfectly fine. He seems like a nice guy. I've listened to a couple of episodes of his podcast. It's pretty good. I don't really have much to say about his movie career.
No, and he doesn't.
Sometimes he's all right.
Yeah, but he doesn't seem to have a shit ton of range except for playing an airhead.
Yep. That's about what he does.
And that's what he does in this movie.
Yep.
He like the next morning he lets Eric go because he felt sorry for him, but it was like, I'm just gonna unlock the jail cell here. I'm gonna look the other way,
which is a major plot point in the movie. But like the movie plays it off like it's like nothing. It's just all like, I'm gonna open this door. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go to the bathroom for a while. Here are your keys. Yeah. Hint. And he lets Eric escape, which will have long-lasting consequences and result in the death of two people. So good job, Dax Sheppard. Fine police work. Also, while Eric is being beaten up in the jail cell, Tim Allen is leaving the bar, and the people he accosted earlier were waiting for him, so he gets his ass kicked too.
Yeah, to what purpose? I don't really know. Just to establish that this guy's
he's at the end of his rope, and he's just like a big loser.
This is just the life he leads.
Can I tell you the biggest surprise I came away with this movie? The one thing that I genuinely did not think was going to happen. I kind of like Tim Allen's performance in this.
Me too.
He's kind of good.
Yeah.
It's weird to see him as like this much of a washed up alcoholic loser. Like when he wakes up the next morning, he's shirtless. He lets a cigarette go out on his chest and he wakes up and he has to like brush it off.
Yeah.
It's weirdly relatable. I'm not saying that that's ever happened to me, but it's just like, I get it, man. Like your life fucking sucks. And you seem like an asshole, but like, I kind of have sympathy for you a little bit.
I mean, my only exposure to Tim Allen in any kind of live action role would be, you know, the family comedies that he's been doing. And where he's usually like sort of a successful guy, maybe like, you know, he'll bonk his head on something. But no, you never seen him like really down on his luck.
Yeah.
Like you do in this movie.
This is maybe the closest he's ever gotten to like a Mickey Rourke wrestler type performance or something.
Oddly enough, yeah.
And it's in this stupid movie that he's barely in, but it's like, you know, maybe someone should give Tim Allen a shot. Someone should write like an actual dramatic role for him. But then again, based on his career and based on the fact that he did 9 seasons of a TV show,
2 TV shows
most people have never seen. I'm specifically speaking of Last Man Standing. Everyone has seen Home Improvement to a certain degree, but like maybe he's just not interested in that.
Yeah,
which is fine, but like
he's got it
in him. He could do it. He could do it. It would be interesting to see if he could pull it off. I think. Yeah, I do. I think the dude has range.
I think so.
I think he's like the best performance in this movie. Weirdly,
yes, and that includes having fucking Vincent
D'Onofrio, who's also pretty good, but he's giving you what Vincent D'Onofrio usually gives you. He's he's like
well, he embodies a character. Like he's one of the greatest character actors.
He's pure chaos. He's in an unbridled rage, and he also is like a deeply alcoholic, unhappy person, but like he's like unfixable.
Yes.
Tim Allen has maybe like a glimmer of Christmas hope in him.
Yeah. Later on in the movie, like when like the scene comes up, I'll talk about one of my favorite scenes with Vincent in it. But following the plot of the movie, Eric gets back to his car, and you know he needs to skip town. Like he reached a dead end trying to track down his dad. Even though he fucking met his dad, and it's obvious to fucking everyone who watches
Except him.
Except him.
He should have fucking pieced it together.
I know, right?
But, yeah.
Hey, the guy who's living at the address, whatever. As he's leaving town, he passes by Vincent in the squad car.
Just the worst possible timing for him, because he would have been home free if Vincent didn't happen to be at that moment at exactly there, but he is, and thus the rest of the movie happens. So a high-speed car chase goes on. Is exciting.
Sure.
I don't know. Vincent D'Onofrio crashes his car, and then he
tracks him down at the liquor store.
He doesn't take his hat off and stomp on it, but he almost does.
Yeah.
He gets a little close to doing that.
He crashes his car into like a big haystack.
Yeah.
And there's a cow on the other side of it, and as he's
I thought he was going to shoot the cow.
I thought he was going to shoot that fucking cow.
I thought it was going to be cow murder. Yeah.
And then it would be like, okay, well, now we have our unapologetic true villain in this movie. But no, the cow lives, and I'm happy for it, because he was just a cute little moo cow.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's a nice Christmas movie.
That's right.
It's a cute little moo cow live.
DoesTheCowLive.com.
Jameson's review, not great.
But the cow lives.
Cute moo cow. So Eric runs into Vincente's, where Kate and Seth are, because Kate is fixing.
Oh my God, her name is Kate, and on the show Letterkenny she plays Katie.
Well,
that's gonna be so easy.
That'll be easy for you to remember from now on.
Yeah.
Because Vincente's cooler has broken down, and only Katie knows the thing with the wires to fix it or whatever. So of course she's brought Seth along, and Vincente is a nice man. He gives Seth a little remote control car. Tim Allen is also there buying beer, even though it's all warm beer.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't give a shit. He's an American. He's the last man standing. And then Eric runs in, and he is closely followed by Deputy Vincent D'Onofrio, who shoots through the window and it basically starts a hostage standoff. Even though Eric does not begin holding anyone hostage.
No.
It's entirely Vincent D'Onofrio who is creating the scenario.
Well, what happens is he fires into the store, and Tim Allen has he's packing.
Yep.
So he pulls out his gun and he shoots Vincent in the shin or something. And now he's incapacitated on the ground.
And
bleeding.
Vincent D'Onofrio will be bleeding on the ground for the remainder of this movie. That's where he will stay.
Yep.
And then I guess Eric gets a hold of D'Onofrio's gun. So now it's become a standoff. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Is like, this movie could be over at a couple of different points.
Yes.
He could knock on Tim Allen's door and say, I'm looking for my father, and he could say, I'm your father, and then cut to credits. They could be in this hostage stand-up thing. The cops could come, and then Eric could go, this is a big misunderstanding. I'm just going to let everyone leave. Like the mother and child. There's no reason to keep them. for as long as we are, so I'm just gonna let them go.
Yep.
The shop owner can go. Tim Allen can do whatever the fuck he wants, but like, none of these people have to be involved.
Yeah.
But they will be.
Yeah.
Because we gotta have a movie. We gotta have a standoff for this movie.
Yeah, there are multiple opportunities where, like, once the other cops descend on the liquor store and the police start calling into the liquor store, could all explain this away, as you were saying, like, massive misunderstanding. I guess because Eric had that awful experience with, what's his name, Officer Carl.
Yeah, well, he has been booked, so he's in the system or whatever.
He's automatically assuming that, like, every cop in this town is a bad person, so still.
And the two
he
other...
seems like a nice enough guy that, like, he should be able to just explain this away, get his story out there.
Right.
What happens instead, though, at one point is Kurtwood Smith calls into the liquor store, Tim Allen answers it, and immediately makes the situation worse by saying, yeah, we want money. And like,
because
you didn't have to fucking do that, Tim Allen.
He's a drunk rascal, and his explanation is just all like, I've always wanted to do that, because he's swinging the wild turkey, and isn't it funny? Isn't he an irascible scamp? But no, Tim Allen has made the situation worse, and of course, the other thing that's influencing all this is Vincent D'Onofrio is on the radio, and he's just spreading bald-faced lies. He's saying like, this guy has a gun, I've officer down, I'm wounded, and everything.
He's our meth lab suspect.
He's meth lab suspect. He's making everything worse, and added on to all of this is the fact that Sheppard has to keep it quiet that he let this this criminal or suspect escape from custody, and he doesn't want Kurtwood Smith to find out about that. So he has to play along to a certain degree to keep his job safe, which honestly is an element that you forget about because it feels like Dax Sheppard, the actor, forgot that was a thing that happened earlier, because it kind of never comes up again.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're at our standoff inside of the liquor mart. Dax Sheppard and Kurtwood Smith are outside. One of them goes around to the back. They end up having a shootout that ends up just being the two of them firing at each other.
Which was like a nice touch once I clued in that that's what was happening.
Sure.
Like, it's not shot the clearest way, but then when you find out, oh, the two cops are just on either side of the building, happen to be shooting at each other through the windows.
Yeah.
Kurt was just like, stop firing, dumbass.
Tim Allen at one point in time refers to Kurtwood Smith as RoboCop, and I went, I got that reference.
Yeah.
Funny. And then Kurtwood Smith is all
even
like,
though he didn't,
no reference in my other projects, dumbass.
Yeah, he didn't even play fucking RoboCop.
No, I know.
But it's an
I don't know. It's you know, it's like when fucking Robert Patrick was in The Marine and he called John Cena the Terminator.
Right.
We have to keep referencing other things.
Actually, come to think of it, there's another name drop. Dax Sheppard is running the plates. He's doing actual police work to the surprise of Kurtwood Smith. And then he suggests, why don't I call into the liquor store and negotiate the situation? And Kurtwood Smith says, this ain't a movie. You're not Samuel L. Jackson, who played the Negotiator in The Negotiator.
IMDb trivia told me that one. That explained that one to me, yeah. What I thought was really weird was when Dax Sheppard was talking to Kurtwood Smith and he's all like, yeah, we're really in the weeds now, Chief. We're really up a creek without a paddle. And he looks directly into the camera. I really felt like that stood out from the plot. I didn't know what was going on there.
If the movie kind of leaned into that a little bit more and just like referenced all the other projects
projects that they were in. Yeah. Fucking Luke Grimes looks at the camera and goes, I got nothing. No one knows who I am!
The four hostages in the liquor store really is sort of a fantastic situation. So says Jessica Alba,
who's now on the scene with her cameraman because she got wind of the fact that there's some actual news going on, and she reports it. And boy, oh boy, are these characters ever necessary?
And we get playing themselves cameos of Soledad O'Brien.
Yep.
As
she had an afternoon free, Jameson. Yep. In between reporting actual news.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. I like to think that that's always what happened. Like, whenever you see, like, Anderson Cooper, Wolf Blitzer, and a thing where it's all like, they caught them in, like, the 1 hour in between they have, like, actual important jobs to do, to, like, sit down, and Anderson Cooper's all like, all right, what am I saying?
What am I saying here?
The fucking Flash punched General Zod. I don't fucking know. What is this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just the news anchors doing what they always do, which is just like reading the news copy. It's not much of a stretch for them to play themselves.
The best one out of all of these is did you see the Mission Impossible where Wolf Blitzer gets in on the fucking action?
I might have, but I might have missed
like,
it. Oh, is he like a mask?
He's a mask, and it's Simon Pegg as Wolf Blitzer, but Wolf Blitzer has like an entire scene where he's all like, aha, I got ya! That's the best one overall.
The one that I'll always go back to is Larry King whenever he's like playing himself.
Yeah.
Like the best one was in 30 Rock where he's like interviewing Tracy Jordan the entire time. And he's like, cut to commercial, Larry. I will, but not because you told me to. He was such a good sport.
He was a great sport. I loved his performance as B. Larry King in the B movie.
Yeah.
So this fucking standoff is still going on.
Yeah.
I may have run out of ways to describe how the plot of this movie goes because it's just the standoff until the end.
Pretty much.
Now,
I mean, like I just have like bullet points, things of like, here are some scenes that happen. Dax Sheppard is interviewed by Jessica Alba, and he says stuff like, "Oh, like we're all kind of just piecing this all together, but this is all off the record, even though they're live."
Sure.
Tim Allen has another drunken caroling in the liquor store,
passing off beer.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come, and earth receives her King, and everyone prepares his room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and and nature sing.
Jessica Alba crosses the police line and goes to interview Kurtwood Smith, and Kurtwood Smith's pretty mad at her, but she gets a quote, and now he says, "Now get behind that line, dumbass," and she's all like, "Yes, I will." And then her and Jimmy Yang go back over the line, and they're all like, "That was a good scene that we were in." And Jimmy O. Yang goes, "Yes,
it certainly was. It was one of our scenes.
It was one of the many scenes we have in this movie."
Yeah. Eric and Katie have like a bonding moment over their shared history of not having a father in their lives.
It's this annoying thing where, of course, the movie is trying to the movie and Tim Allen's character are trying to posit them as love interests, even though she's nothing but unpleasant to him, and all he has done to show any sort of affection is he bought a slice of cake for her kid.
Yep.
It's all like these just man and woman. So they must be in love. They must be in love by the end of this movie.
There is a scene early in the movie where Eric goes to buy the Drano at the store, and Kate's just ignoring a customer because she's listening to her music on her phone or whatever. He taps her on the shoulder, and she freaks the fuck out and saying, like, "What are you doing, like, standing over, scaring people?" And the guy's just, "I'm just looking to make a purchase here, lady." So, she's hostile to it.
It's a real meat scream.
I guess
a meat screech.
But then I guess Stockholm syndrome sets in, and now she identifies
exactly.
Exactly. Over the course of like a couple of hours.
Exactly. She identifies with her kidnapper, and she goes on to have many of his babies. So we're in the fucking liquor store.
There's this one scene where I think the movie's trying to have like a message on the nature of truths, like someone's personal truth and like the story that people can recount about each other, because Eric says to Vincent, to Officer Carl Hooker, bleeding out on the ground.
Because there is a character named Vincente, so we don't mean him.
And it's a little confusing enough, so I can't go to my favorite gag of just referring to the actors by their real names.
His last name is Hooker. Does that help?
That helps, yeah, Officer Hooker. So he says, like, you can clear this all up, just stop lying. And he's like, what is one man's lies, another man's truth? And he says to, like, "Hey, Vicente, I mean, like, you know me. I've been a pillar of this community forever. When that armed robber came to the store and triggered that alarm and shot your wife, who was the first officer on the scene and tried to give her CPR? Me. Hey, Kate, when your ex-boyfriend was slapping you around, who chased him out of town?" And it's Vincent doing, like, the best acting he's done in this movie. And, fuck, are we meant to...
Are we? Yeah.
Was he like a good man at one point, and then something happened, or he's just been doing the job too long that now he's fallen off the wagon, or I don't know what they're trying to say about this guy.
There's not enough time to flesh out this character. So like if they're trying to inject like a bit of sympathy for Officer Hooker at this moment here, but again, like he's just stating objective facts at this point in time. We don't know what he actually did in all of these statements. It's just, it's much like the standoff in the gas station. It's his word versus everyone else's, and he has proven himself to be an untrustworthy narrator.
Yes.
So I don't know what to take away from any of this, really. And it very quickly does not become an issue, because as it turns out, Officer Hooker has one more gun hidden in the small of his back. He gets uncuffed for some reason, because he's trying to, I don't know, Eric wants him to make a call to his buddies or whatever.
Make a call to the sheriff and say, like, I'm going to send some hostages out. This is all...
Yeah, it's all a big misunderstanding.
We can resolve this peacefully.
And Vincent D'Onofrio is having none of it, so he pulls out...
This guy's crazy. He's going to shoot us all. You got to get in here now, Red Foreman.
So he pulls out the gun, he shoots Eric in the sternum, and Eric, who still has his gun, shoots Vincent D'Onofrio, and Vincent D'Onofrio passes away. He dies on the floor of the liquor store, just like the gypsy woman said.
Yep. And also in this moment, Vicente panics.
Gets riddled with bullets.
He gets, like, shot gangland style by the cops when they hear gunfire on the inside, and I'm like, what the fuck did this guy do to deserve all this? Also, who is this fucking character?
And this sweet, lovely man who gives Christmas presents is murdered by policemen, a man of color, murdered by policemen inside of his own business. And that's a wrap on that character. There's absolutely no reason to assume that there's anything left to say about this character at all. Moving on. Two people...
We'll circle back to that.
Two people are dead. They will always be dead. They will be dead forever. There's definitely no rewrites in this movie. Yes, two people are dead. Eric is up shit creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
They finally do the sensible thing and let Kate and her autistic son come out of the fucking store. And guess what? It's really easy. None of the cops shoot them because it's a lady and a kid.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that hasn't happened through police history, but in this movie, the feds are smart enough that they can put their guns down for literally 2 seconds while they get Kate and her child to safety.
During the moment where Vicente is gunned down, that's where we come back to our wraparound scene of Dax, Sheppard, and Kurtwood Smith behind the car. And
yes! Oh, yeah! Don't you remember this from the beginning of the movie?
And now that with all that setup, this scene makes a lot more sense.
The context! I get it.
Context.
There was a shootout going on.
Yeah.
It's an El Camino Christmas. Oh, now it makes sense.
We tied a nice little bow on top of this package.
Oh, well, there we go. Well, we're back at the beginning of the movie.
Yep. During all the excitement and kerfuffle, Jessica Alba's water breaks. But she's still live on TV, and Soledad O'Brien has to say, like, well, our reporter on the scene, we seem to be having some technical difficulties. Absolutely no change in tone or reaction in panic to this. She's just an absolute pro at her job.
That's what you get. That's what you get when you get Soledad. And and then pregnant Jessica Alba gets ushered into the back of a van, and we'll circle around to that later.
I like how
can't you fucking wait to find out how this wraps up?
I love how while she's like in labor and she's getting wheeled away into the ambulance, her cameraman has got like the camera phone on her. Like,
always be filming.
It's like just the most.
It's the first rule of camera people. Always be filmed. You got to film at all times, and it's true. Look at the society today.
Yeah,
everyone's filming. Everyone's a cameraman.
I mean, he has an actual TV station camera, but he puts it down so he can record it on his phone. I guess for his own personal collection.
Yeah, that's for Jimmy.
The fucking freak.
That's Jimmy's private collection right there. He's also going to the hospital to take some photos, but that has nothing to do with anything. He's also registered as a doula. So
he's the midwife.
He's got to get down there. Yeah.
All right.
So only Tim Allen and Eric are left in the convenience store, and Tim Allen finally comes clean and says the thing that he should have said like an hour ago. He doesn't come out and say it. He just says something about being a Vietnam veteran.
Yeah.
And then Eric is all like, "Oh yeah, that really obvious thing that I should have pieced together on my own." Huh?
Yeah.
Right.
He called in an airstrike or something, but he called off an airstrike, but it turned out to be like an ambush for his men. And
it's a really tragic story and a pretty well-delivered monologue from Tim Allen, honestly. He's quite haunted.
He got court-martialed, and that made his wife leave him and turned him into, he went on this downward spiral afterwards, and that's why he's a raging alcoholic now.
He said something about, I spent all these years trying to do right by all those men that I ended up getting killed. He doesn't really elaborate on that. So I don't really know what he did.
Yeah. And Eric's like, oh, and your wife left you. She didn't deserve that. And he goes, you're right. Your mother didn't.
Oh! And then everyone does a lap.
And then he tosses him his dog tags, and it has the fucking William Roth on it.
He's like, oh!
Wow! I sure as hell predicted this an hour ago.
Who could have guessed? And then, fuck, I thought I had a thought. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I never have. And then,
well, he says, I'm going to take the fall for you on this.
And then it kind of works out, and it makes sort of like the scene earlier where he grabs the phone and he pretends to be one of the hostage takers. It kind of makes sense. It kind of takes the onus of blame off of his son, and it puts it all entirely onto him. I remember what I was going to say. Is like Tim Allen is living in this, podunk little town or whatever. He lives in like a terrible apartment with boards up on the window. He's like an irascible drunk. He seems to have a never-ending supply of money for all the alcohol he could ever want to buy. So I don't know. I mean, if he was court-martialed or dishonorably discharged, he's probably not earning a veteran salary. So
maybe
where's his cash flow coming from?
Some kind of GI benefits program that he would he still be eligible for that?
I don't know enough about that. Yeah,
but
I don't know. That's just a dumb movie thing that they didn't think of. It's only he has money to buy alcohol because Tim Allen needs to be drinking alcohol in this movie. So that's why he always has the money for it.
Yeah. So he says to Eric, "Well, I'm the only one in this liquor store that hasn't been shot yet, so I'll be."
That's right.
They'll take me as the criminal here.
Yep.
So
but it never enters his mind once to give himself up peacefully. Nope. This is a man it's not that he's going to take the fall for his son. This is a man who at this moment has decided, well, that was a good run. That's the end for me.
This is the
suicide by cop.
This is
how I always knew I would go out.
The logical conclusion that he always saw for himself. So he heads.
It's because he knows he can't go back to prison because he's ratted on too many people. Yeah. he's made too many enemies on the inside.
That's right. Yeah,
it's don't come back, Tim.
I can't go back. So he leaves the liquor store. He brings, for some reason, the PBR standee cutout.
Because it's a sexy lady.
Why does he take it out with him?
Because it's just baby. There was a big. This feels like a leftover from the 90s. There was always a joke where the beer standee bikini model. Someone always had to grab that and pretend it was their girlfriend in the 90s.
Sure,
and stuff. So I'm sure Tim Allen saw that set dressing and was just all how about this little improv for you? How you doing?
It could have made sense if he still from inside the store, he had a gun up against it, and then people would be confused, oh, he's got the hostage with him. No, he just walks out with it and places it right next to him in the midst for everyone to see.
These are dumb cops, but they can probably. It's not like fucking Home Alone. We're not disguising cardboard cutouts for actual people here.
Yeah.
But he walks out with two guns. The head of the feds. The only black actor in this movie.
Oh yeah, there is a black.
we got one of them.
One black guy
says put the gun down, and of course Tim Allen, he's ready to be.
Does he quote Charles Bukowski at this point?
That would make sense. I don't know. He says something around
something about the life of a man, solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short, as a subtle American flag is drifting in the breeze behind him.
Sounds Bukowski-ish.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets shot to death.
Yep.
And that's another thing I don't think I've ever seen happen in a movie. I think this is the first time I've ever seen Tim Allen die in a movie. So there you go. He's stretching those muscles.
Well, what happened to the robot Santa in Santa Claus 2?
I was pretty drunk by that point. He probably gets dismantled or whatever. Yeah. But that doesn't count, Jameson, because he has no soul.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So we flash forward to 182 days later, another very specific number, where we show the conclusions of all the lovable and relatable characters.
And you're not going to believe where some of these wacky characters have ended up. Kurtwood Smith
apparently has been trying to quit smoking this entire movie.
Has that ever been mentioned once in any scene?
Nope.
He's smoking throughout the rest of the scene, but apparently his character arc was that he was trying to quit smoking this entire time.
So he sees a hypnotist, and she says, like, you will have control over your life. I will have control over the changes in my life. Okay.
All right, well, that's a wrap on Kurtwood.
That's right. Aren't we happy for him?
You know what's a badass motherfucking name?
Kurtwood Smith?
Kurtwood.
Yeah.
Not enough kids are named Kurtwood these days. Get on that, moms.
Jessica Alba becomes a real reporter. We don't see her child.
We never see the baby! And that drove me insane. Like, if you're going to do this, if you're going to do the whole giving birth on Christmas, have her give birth in the back of the van or something. Have, like, some, like, one-shot iconography where it, like, maybe, like, resembles a manger scene or something. Someone's all like, get her a blanket, and then, like,
or like
I don't know, something, figure it out, it's right there.
Or like in the midst of all the chaos, everyone stops and crowds around the new mother and her
Yeah,
child
and it's
on
all like,
Christmas Eve.
oh,
like,
that's what it's all about. That's what the Christmas season
it's not
is all
about. It's not about liquor and and dead cops.
But no, a year later, Jessica Alba is back on the scene, and she has already been able to get prenatal care because someone else is looking after that baby.
Yep.
She's a working mom.
Yep.
She don't got time. She don't got time for. I think she even mentioned it in an earlier scene. Like the dad's not even around anymore. So like, it's a single mom who's raising that baby.
My career's all I got. I'm putting that kid up.
Her only friend is Jimmy Yang, and he's not watching the baby because he's her cameraman. Because as we all know, reporters get one cameraman for their entire career, and then they stick with them, like a Pokemon.
Kate's mom is on a date. The mother has probably been in like 2 or 3 scenes throughout the movie, and she's on a date with the TV weatherman who was only in 1 scene in this movie at the very beginning.
But these we gotta find out. We gotta wrap things up. I guess in addition to quitting smoking, Kurtwood Smith is also retiring as the sheriff because we see Dax Sheppard dealing with a call to like a farmer or whatever, and he gives him a sign to put on his lawn that says,
"I'm running for
county sheriff." And does he succeed? We'll never know.
We never knew we never knew that was his ambition. I guess throughout the entire movie, you know, he had the choice to make. Do I want to stay in law enforcement or do I want to run my motel? And I think by the end here, we got our answer.
Right.
He's committing to the law there.
And that's it. Certainly no characters come back to life. Oh, no, wait. Vincente is alive. Vincente is alive, and he is sitting on a beach in, like, the Caribbean or whatever.
On an overcast day.
And he's talking to a sexy lady. Oh, no. It's not an overcast day. It is... They had 1 day to film this insert because people didn't like the ending where this nice man got riddled with bullets.
Yeah.
So they took him into a studio and then green screened a beach around him. That's what fucking happened here. I guarantee it.
He also mentions that he got money for being shot.
Hey,
I don't know if that's
nice work if you can get it.
I don't know if that's like an insurance payout or something, but yes, Vincente, he's okay, everyone.
He's okay, everyone. And it looks like he found love again. So, you know what? That's what Christmas is all about.
I was so worried about him.
He got shot like 8 or 9 times in, like, the chest.
Yeah.
And he walked away from it.
It's a Christmas miracle. It's an El Camino Christmas miracle. And last but certainly not least, I guess Eric comes back into town and he buys...
Or maybe he lives there now.
I don't know.
Maybe he moved into Tim Allen's decrepit apartment.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know who this character... I don't know what he was doing before this. I don't know what his whole deal is. He's only the main character of the movie. But yeah, and he buys another slice of cake for Seth, who we forgot to mention right before they escape from the liquor store. Seth finally talks because Eric gives him his toy car back and he says thank you. And then Kate goes, "Those were good words, honey.
Those are good words.
Those are really great words. Really great.
Good words,
And
kid.
I'm like, all right, fine, cool.
God
I'm
bless
glad.
us, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's an El Camino. And Vincent D'Onofrio and Tim Allen are still dead.
Yep.
They don't come back. They're dead forever.
And that's that's El Camino Christmas. So we did it. We made it.
We
through.
sure did.
We fucking found things to talk about with this movie.
We absolutely
Oh
did.
my god.
Yeah.
What anything else you want to mention
No,
here?
I don't think so. There's kind of a there's this fun B. Beeman song that I like called Ballerina that Vincent D'Onofrio sings the majority of in like an earlier scene. I'm all like, oh, I know these lyrics.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's that B. Beeman song. Oh, that's kind of neat. And then he just keeps singing it. And it's all like, all right, we're getting to the chorus now, Vincent.
Yeah.
Okay, we're still going, huh?
He's singing.
All right.
He's singing that when he first starts eyeing Eric as a potential suspect, and I guess that's just how he intimidates out-of-towners in this
he's
small
got
town.
he's got a couple of scenes where he kind of goes full fucking opera star here, or he's trying to anyway. And Vincent, it's not within your skill set, buddy. Well, and he's not trying to be a good singer.
Nope.
Maybe if someone pays him the big bucks, maybe he's a beautiful singer. I don't know.
We'll never.
I don't know.
Well, he's dead now. In
He's
this movie.
dead.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio canonically dead. No, he's alive and he's a lovely man.
Right.
I don't know. That's all I have to say on this.
Yeah. Me too.
All right. El Camino Christmas. Did it have a whole lot of nothing?
It sure did.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, this movie isn't really even that bad. It's just kind of like
dull. It's not.
Yeah, there's nothing to it. It's a nothing movie. Hey, there we go.
Yeah,
we called it. Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like dark comedy, not a ton of laughs to be had, I thought. Characters had odd motivations.
Or no motivations.
And then at the end, they're like, oh shit, let's just write a happy ending for all these characters. Earned or not, we'll just have to do that because that's what audiences are expecting.
Yeah. I can't believe they did. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe it's like, I don't know how film sets find babies. I guess they have like a bunch of like new parents that they can call or whatever. It's all like, we need a baby for one shot or whatever. But it's like, I can't believe there wasn't just a shot of like Jessica Alba doing a news report and then someone is watching her doing the news report and they're holding a baby and it's all like, that's your mommy. And it's all like, that's all it needed. That's that's literally the button that her character needed to close the fucking loop on her story, and they couldn't even do that.
I don't think Kate's mother needed an entire ending when, she's just in one or two scenes where she's on these like little half dates with Loser Man.
I think this is the one though, because he tells like a joke about his balls, and she really likes it. So like, I think that's love.
Yeah.
I think 12th time's the charm for Kate's mom.
And I guess Kurtwood Smith had a issue of trying to quit smoking that is never established.
No, and maybe he got over on it. Maybe he's okay now.
I suppose so. I never would have put eyes on this movie before, but now that I have, and I don't think I'm all the richer for it.
No. The thing is, Netflix will come out with these. Have we done a Netflix movie before?
Was Pottersville a Netflix movie?
No, it just ended up on Netflix, but it wasn't original. This may be, I may have to check the books. This may be the first Netflix original that we've done. And the thing is Netflix has a bevy of nothing movies to choose from because that's what their fucking format is. They release these movies, they don't market them, they just drop them on their platform, and then they get buried in the algorithm like this one is.
There is a long-standing joke of Netflix will just greenlight everything, and you really get the impression of that from this movie because
they greenlit this movie, they started filming it, and then midway through everyone went,
we
didn't really write a story, did we?
We had a title, and we had a cast, and we had a location.
Honestly, Jameson, that feels like you hit the nail on the head. That's what this movie feels like. A cast, a location, and a title. And that title is El Camino Christmas.
Yep.
Directed by David
Good segue, Kaz.
It's pretty good. Well, it's time to wrap this up. And I guess it's time to wrap up another year of nothing movies.
How about that,
How about that? We got there.
Yeah.
We got there.
Another one in the books.
Another one in the books.
Yeah.
Did we learn anything?
About this year or about these Christmas movies that we've just did?
I don't know. I kind of throwing that at you like the last man. I've learned that life throws you some curveballs, and you gotta lean into them. We are still mourning the loss of Podstream Studios, but we will. Who knows what the future holds for this podcast? It may just be this for a while. It may be going back to you and me around this old microphone because that's how it started, Jameson.
And you never kind of know what things may come. Or maybe a good ending is just around the corner if we just wait 182 days between events. I don't know. That's the big lesson I took away from this Holly Jolly Christmas movie. I didn't put any thought into what we learned this year.
Well, we'll tell you all about that next year.
Sure.
We'll come back with it. But That was El Camino Christmas. If you like this episode, please check out our back catalog. If you go further into the back catalog, you will notice that the podcast is under the title of The Fuck Is This? It's the same podcast. It's me and Jameson. Sometimes we're joined by a guest, but we're mostly just talking bullshit about movies and other things that make us laugh. And if that's what you listen to, I mean, if you listen to this and you enjoyed it, you'll probably like that.
I'm pleasantly surprised if you listen to this.
There we go, and we got like 100 of these motherfuckers. You can follow us on social media. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on the other one, but probably won't be for that much longer. Yeah. If it's even still around. We'd like to thank Eddie Lamb for his fantastic theme music. You can follow me on Letterboxd. I'm Kaz Lescard.
I'm Jameson Rafter. I make some web cartoons, and I have a channel called Uptown Slim Jim. You can check all my shit out on there. And I'll leave you, Kaz, with this nice little message courtesy of Tim Allen. Oh no, I killed Wilson. Looks like it's back to jail for me.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, thanks, man.
That's pretty good.
All right.
And I'm just gonna give you a couple, just for variety.
Mm-hmm. All right. All that and all of this to infinity and beyond. Goodbye, everyone. That's Kaz. I'm Jameson. Goodbye.